welcome to City of Mist, Session 0, Part 2. So we're discussing some different characters. Mick's going to discuss what he's thinking about, and we're going to work through a new character. Okay, Mick, go ahead.
Well, one of the ideas I had was I thought maybe the working title I had for the idea was just the Nameless God, who was a character who was basically sort of a god from prehistory.
Mm-hmm.
Either the Nameless God or the Forgotten God.
Okay.
A god from prehistory who had been forgotten. A god from before recorded times, who is kind of motivated by a desire to just find out what his name is.
Okay, that sounds quite interesting. Because, I mean, one of the things that's built in, so the idea is we play City of Mist, is we play scenarios, and it's mainly based on some form of kind of investigation. There might be crimes happening in the city, or somebody calls you for help. But as somebody who has a mythos working in your life, so a mythos in this game is, like you're describing, some kind of power, mythic, either character. I mean, even characters like Alice in Wonderland.
Yes,
so
yes.
There can be people in the city that their mythos is Alice in Wonderland. So I mean, that would work because you already, with what you're thinking, there's a massive amount of mystery attached to that. And one of the secondary mystery really in the game. So the first mystery is, what's the crime? Who's behind it? And we're out to solve it in one way or another, maybe for different reasons. But the second mystery is, who am I? Why is this power working in my life, and where is it coming from? You know? So as a person, now you can have as many reasons for why you have some kind of special abilities as you want. So in some of the characters, the one that Jeff played the first time was Mythos, the big Hulk character, and he had in his case. You basically get, what you get is you get 4 themes. There's the 4 themes, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can decide if you want, the purple ones there are mythos ones, and the brown ones are natural abilities. And to be honest, in gameplay, neither is more powerful than the other, because what you do is you tag them. It's really the relevance of your ability to the situation, you know? So you could have, like, this guy has a rapid cell growth as one of his kind of supernatural abilities. He can grow extra limbs, or he's huge, so he can tag huge in a face-to-face combat. But equally, he was also an ex-boxer, and he has boxing. He's got a mean right hook. So whether it's a power-based one or a natural skill, it only adds 1, you know. And the idea is we roll 2d6, and you tag a power or a natural ability, or both. You can tag as much as you want, as much as is realistic or in the situation. So it's good in that you can start off with, like, Jeff's character has 1 mythic power theme and 3 natural ones. You can have 2 mythic ones and 2 natural, and that basically means you're kind of halfway between the world of the mythic and the natural. And then if you get as far as 3 mythic themes, which most characters don't at the beginning, then you're practically an avatar, you know, where you're beginning to leave your natural world behind. So the nice thing in the game, I think, and we were just talking about that a minute ago, was that if you can happily start off with 2. There is 1 character in the pre-gen that's got 3, but probably it's a fun thing to I would suggest don't have more than 2, because it means that you can then progress. You can burn a theme and create more powers as your journey continues. In your case, as you begin to find out the names or, you know, the meaning of your mythos. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So what we want to do is, what about in terms of your character? How would you imagine this nameless god, or what was the other thing you called it again? The ancient or nameless god.
The forgotten god.
The forgotten god. That's what it was. How is this expressed? So what kind of powers does it bring to your normal life? You know, what crazy abilities?
I think it should be something unexpected and entirely reality warping.
I like that. Right. Okay.
You know, just something that is just
beyond
incredibly impressive, but so powerful. It's difficult to imagine a circumstance where you would ever use it.
Yep.
That's what I had in mind.
I like that. I mean, Jeff, you spoke about last time when we were doing this that sometimes it's nice to have your powers really a bit loose and airy, because when you make them really specific, then, well, let's put it this way, if it's really weird and out there and not very specific, then it means when you come into a situation, you can actually shape it as the story goes on, you know? So the one that's like that in the pre-gens is Declan Lestrange, that guy there. So he's the most like an investigator in the game, and he's only got 1 mythos and 3 natural, and his mythos is living in a dream, and his problem is he doesn't know what's real and what's not real, right? In his life. And his power tags are here's one that's just almost exactly what you described. He's got mysterious reality bending, but that's all it says. I mean, it doesn't specify what does that actually mean. His second one is subconscious reaction speed. So he's got an ability which will obviously help him in combat there. And then the last one is premonitions. So the likes of premonitions are great, or something like that, where that can almost like interrupt the game or interrupt your character's actions, you know. But mysterious reality bending is a great one, because it's like, what does that mean? Well, we don't know until you play it, you know, and you find an opportunity and you think to yourself, hold on a minute, I'm going to try and bend reality here, you know. I
just like the idea of a character who just attempts to just sort of, you know, focus his power to pick a lock or something.
Right.
And the upshot is that the entire wall and door just disappear.
Right.
You know, and it's just that he's just got no sense of being able to structure this power at all. It's just It's so grandiose and godlike that it's virtually useless. You know, it lacks any real sort of fine tuning.
So if you were a stage magician, then you would probably be one of the best stage magicians ever, but in real life, you wonder what the heck to do with it.
Yes. Sorry, I'm just...
What are you thinking?
I was thinking like a park attendant or a mailman or a bus driver. Maybe a taxi driver, actually. That, from the point of view of actually putting together a team of investigators, a taxi driver, I think, would be more useful.
Yeah, I agree. That
would be a sort of into sort of some group of people.
Yep, and that is so the way it works here is it's themes. Did you manage to watch any of the stuff on this previous?
A little,
right? So basically, we've got mythos themes, and we don't need to really stick to that. I'd rather you can kind of go with your concept and we work it from there, you know. But likes of the mythos, you've got adaption, which would be your godlike powers, subversion, mobility, relic, if you've got a special relic, expression, etc., divination. And then on your normal ones, which is what we're talking about just now. It suggests defining relationship. You have a mission, some kind of mission. Training. Jeff's got training in, is it boxing or is it athletics or boxing?
Yep. Fighter, gym / bouncer.
Gym, yeah. Defining event. Possessions. So that could include a vehicle, but they're kind of talking about a kitted out vehicle, really. Personality and routine. And routines, one is really a job. You've got some kind of normal everyday life experience, and that would be your job, Mick. So taxi driver would be an excellent one. So let's think about that for a moment.
None of this is on the downloadable character sheet that I've downloaded.
What one have you got? Is it the one from their website?
Yes.
Okay, so if you should have something like that part. See that part there? 1, 2, 3, 4.
I have the theme cards sheet. Yes.
Yeah. So that's where you're going to write or take a note of. So in this one, because it's obviously printed color, the purple one is the Mythos one. So you can call that. You could just call it godlike if you want, or something like that. And then you're going to put another one, which would be, so the purple one and the colored one is Mythos, and those ones are called Logos, which basically just means normal life.
Do you have the autofill one, Mick?
Yes, I do.
So I think that's at the very top, called type. That's where you would put in either Mythos or Logos.
So on my character card, where it says Mythos and Logos, Mythos would be the forgotten god, Logos would be taxi driver.
Yep.
Yes, exactly.
So
and now he's chewing a bone loudly.
So where it says type, you would put Logos, and then like for taxi driver, you would put routine. So type would be Logos - routine, and then underneath of that, there's 2 lines, and on that first line, that's where you would put in taxi driver. And the same for your Mythos. Then the type would be Mythos - what would that be? Ken, would that be divination?
It's adaption, I think, with the likes of reality warping. That would be considered an adaption, I think.
The Mythos adaption, and then under that, godlike.
Or forgotten. Godlike could be on the top, and then underneath you could put your specific, the forgotten god or the nameless god. There's like 2 lines there for a little bit of.
Why is it whenever you leave any cell on this, it selects the whole document? That's really annoying.
I didn't mean to derail you there, Ken. I didn't know if you were following along with.
No, it's actually helpful because I'm going to try and pull up the picture of it, so as when we're talking about it, we can kind of look at it.
Probably help if while we're doing this, I also pulled up the stuff that I downloaded, the player's guide. Oh, don't open it in Chrome. What are you doing? Open things in Chrome. Never works.
Okay, so I'm going to share, if it helps, just the theme cards, especially if any of the guys are watching it, just to, as we go along. Is that coming up? Is that there? Yeah.
Yep.
Now,
That's what you think, Mick?
I think that's probably what you're working on, Mick.
I think
That
that's
one
what
there,
I have
certainly.
before me.
So on the, it says, you'll see kind of in the middle of the card, or almost in the middle, it says mystery or identity. So the idea is that the mystery part is a question, right? And that's to do with your mythos, right? And the identity part would relate to your natural life. So let me see if I can find a good example here. Here's somebody that's an ex-boxer, and the question was for mitosis was, all I know is how to fight. That was his identity. So it's like a statement of identity for your normal themes, your logos themes, and for your power ones, your mythos. It's a question, like you were suggesting with your whole character, theme. Who am I? That might be.
That would. Do you mind?
It might be as simple as that.
What, you just determined to derail it tonight, aren't you?
He wants a game. So, yeah, if you can think of that kind of question for powers, and as we're going, the taxi drivers are an excellent one, actually, Mick, because what you'll get is if you look on your sheet, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's actually 7 columns, but what you're going to do is you're going to have 3 powers in each column, or 3 tags. So see where it says power tags. Do you want to just go ahead and call that power reality warping or something like that?
Okay.
And with your, let's do your taxi driver first, because I think that might be a little bit easier, and we can come back to the mythic power thing. So with your taxi driver, you're going to have 3 skills or tags that obviously you can have more than that in the life of your character, but in terms of things that might come up in gameplay, it's a case of what would you like that to be. So with your taxi driver, you've obviously got a car, you've got transport, so that can be, I've got transport, that's one of your tags. If you need to escape, you can just I jump into the car, I swing round, and that's a plus on the dice roll to succeed to rescue the guys. Or you could, you've got contacts, maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think something geographical as well. Like he knows his way around. He knows places that maybe other people don't immediately know about.
You could call it something like, I know every back alley. That actually would be a really useful one in the game, during the game.
The knowledge.
Yeah, the knowledge, yeah.
Oh, I have to spell alley wrong. That says back ally now. He can't fit. I'll just put every back alley because I know every back alley won't fit in.
Yeah, any thoughts, Jeff? Does that sound good? Is that you got 3 already for the taxi?
Yep.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm wondering is how much of this is not conflicting, is overlapping with Chris's character.
What was his again, in terms of?
Trying to think, because he was kind of going with the whole smuggler thing. So I think he also had like contacts. and I think he was saying that he knew the city well because we were saying he was a delivery guy. He would you would give him a package and he would deliver it. He was the smuggler of.
Well, what we could do is we could leave it as it is, and then when we get together, the guys could decide, well, Mick might want to tweak one, or Chris could too.
Maybe there is, I mean, right now we're sort of calling the same, but maybe once we talk it out, there's a distinction between
I was thinking that a taxi driver and a smuggler would know altogether different places, wouldn't they?
And also, in terms of the contact side, we could kind of restrict Chris's to underworld contacts. So that would actually be a good tag, where it's named underworld contacts, whereas Mick maybe has all sorts of contacts, from businessmen to bankers to low life
newspaper staffs.
Yeah,
definitely, that works.
Yeah. So let's go back to your Mythos one. I was actually thinking about this, Jeff, after we did it last time. I think it's probably a really good idea to do a Mythos and a Logos, and then decide, do I want another Mythos or do I want more Logos, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think when you do one in one, because your character's already beginning to take shape, then, you know.
Do you want to, so the only thing left on the taxi driver Logos is just to come up with a weakness, and then that one's done.
Yeah, okay, sorry, yep. Weakness. What weakness could we have for your taxi driver? Because that's down at the bottom of your thing there. So what part of your normal taxi driving life could be a problem that I can invoke or you can invoke?
He gets lost.
I think he's an outsider. You know, he works nights, driving people around.
Yeah.
Because
why don't
really
you call
have a life?
Why don't you call it, I work nights? That's a weakness. Because if you guys are investigating during the day, right, and you go to make an investigate roll, and I decide to be mean, I might say, you know, Mick, your guy's so exhausted because you're working nights, you can take a minus on that. But the good thing is, with weakness tags, you can invoke them as well, and you actually want to invoke them during the gameplay, because every time you invoke a weakness, you get an XP point. So, yeah, that works really well. So back to your...
yeah, I might just literally just end up sort of, you know, being able to drive people around during the day, but while they're in investigating things, I'm just taking 40 wings out in the car or something.
Well, you can. The thing that I really love about this game, Mick, is a lot of the storytelling comes from you guys as well as me, you know. I think we're used to the GM giving the whole setting and giving the scene, and then it's kind of almost like, what do you want to do? But I think with City of Mist, it's like, you might say, right, well, I'm taking the team down to the old town, and I'll say to you, well, what does that look like as you travel there? And you can just go for it and tell us a little story about how you get there, whatever, you know. There's a lot of the description and the game put onto the players if they want to. So Forgotten God, back to your Forgotten God. So you've got this reality warping, bending, whatever you want to call it. What other bizarre, how does this bizarre influence manifest? Do you want a bit of that kind of divination? Or although that's another list actually, but do you want another element of, like in Declan's case, it's dreams and stuff like that? Do you want some kind of precognition, or what do you think? What manifests the character?
I quite like the idea of sort of some sort of instinctive sense of augury that just occurs every now and then. Like, he'll just be sort of absent-mindedly looking out of the window, waiting for a fare, and he'll see a flock of starlings flying over. and just sort of looking at the flock of starlings, and just for an instant he'll just see like an image, very clearly, too clearly, in the middle of the flock of starlings, and then it dissipates. And then he's just left with this image in his mind and thinking, well, what does that actually mean?
So what would you want to call that?
I'd call it augury, I think. It's augury and omens, isn't it?
Omens, yeah. Is it, because omen tends to make me think of bad things, but is it bad things, or is it just general random things?
It's just absolutely random glimpses of the future.
Okay.
But not necessarily pertaining to things sometimes things of great importance.
Yeah.
Sometimes very specific, very important things. But at other times, just, the fact that the paper boy is going to be late tomorrow. Yeah.
I was thinking about the paper boy as well. So yeah. So that's great. Okay. So call that whatever you want. So that's a second tag.
Call that augury.
And maybe stick random in it as well, because it's very random, and you can invoke it, or I could invoke that as well, maybe, depending on the story.
Yeah, I like the idea that it's more something that happens to him rather than him setting out to do that.
Yeah.
More of a passive thing.
Yeah. In fact, almost that this whole mythos thing is like that with you. It's you can do things, but you don't know, What about anything else? I can have a look at this expression theme book and give you some thoughts if you want.
I was going to say, where's it? Here it is. I wonder if it would help you, like, this is not really metagaming, but it might help you focus your tags. In other words, you basically are limited to like approximately 8 things that your character can do. Right? So there's investigate. So is there a mythos skill or tag that would help you on an investigation? So augury, I could see augury being that, you would possibly gain some clue or insight to the mystery that way.
Yes.
The other one is sneak around. So that's pretty simple, sneaking. Hit with all you got, the clear, there we go. Yep. So basically just pure out combat. Is there anything the mythos can give you, like super strength or powers? Go toe to toe. How do we describe that?
Well, with the first one, the reality warping, I see that as the hit with all you've got thing. But he has very little control over it, and it perhaps doesn't. He doesn't understand what's going to happen when he does it. But
see that,
he'll try to disarm someone, and he'll turn their weapon and their whole arm into an enormous stick of celery or something. Just not really knowing why that's happened either.
I just had an augury of this game being pretty insane with everybody turning into vegetables. But actually, that reality bending thing or could be change the game. So literally, the team is in an absolute. You're stuck. You're cornered, and Mick just comes out with some really quite insane random thing. So, and you could tag that for change the game. You could also tag it for face danger. Face danger is almost like the defensive move in this, Mick, because the GM doesn't actually roll to attack. I'll tell you what's happening, like you are being attacked, and then you guys roll to face the danger. So you could come out with some kind of mystical way to do that, But no, that's helpful, Jeff, to kind of have a look at the powers and say there's another one like sneak around. Like Chris's character has got, he can move in the shadows, so he's going to be like an ace at sneaking about because he can almost go invisible. He can kind of merge with the shadows, but he can also travel in the shadows. So that's going to be one of his specialities.
I've got the whole combat thing with the bow and arrow. So that's kind of my focus, is combat, punching, you know, sort of, to put it in like D&D terms, like the tank, I guess. Or
so yeah, what other weird power? Let me have a wee look at the adaptation, because it's got some example questions. What specific manifestation of your mythos is your favourite? A sleeping curse, smite down with lightning, the true shape of the lion, leave, exploding wind-up toy, rotting touch. Here's some questions I'll just throw out, see if any of it clicks. What circumstances enhance your ability to adapt? Easier with a spell book, under the open sky, ritual of the wild, prolonged contact with a victim, dead of night. What situations do you have a quick solution for or accustomed to? That's not really worded that well. What do your powers naturally protect you from? That's an interesting one. Is there any element of protection in your powers that maybe seem to randomly happen?
Well, I think probably as a taxi driver, he probably gets robbed from time to time.
Yeah.
And I kind of imagine that it would have first started sort of occurring as just manifesting itself in the form of ludicrous acts of synchronicity. Like someone robs his cab and then runs off straight into a bus or something, or they run off and they rob him and they run off down the street and someone has left a cover off a manhole and they just fall straight into it and break their neck. I don't know, I'd like him to be the god of something.
Let me have a little look, see if there's any other questions that might help.
I'm just curious, is the nameless god? I feel like I've heard that. So is that an actual thing?
I've gone for the forgotten god.
Forgotten.
Instead, with the idea that it's just some sort of his mythos is that he's some kind of god from prehistory. Some god of the ancient world. So, I mean, that's either going to be really a hunting god or a fertility god, basically, going back that far, because those were really the only gods they had.
Or, here's another thought, with him being the forgotten god, what about you having the ability to enable other people? You can't, because you're trying to find out who you are, right? So it's not something you can do for yourself. But you could have the ability to give people absolute recall of every detail, or pull memories out of them, you know, out of them or something like that, where you're able to locate things that are forgotten or mysterious, but you can't actually do it for yourself.
Yeah, I like that.
Like, so say, I'll give you a game example, right? So you've just got out the taxi and the crew are going out, and you heard about a scene over the radio or something like that, and you're at this scene, somebody's been murdered or somebody's dying, right, in their last breaths, and you're like, what's happened? Or they're in a coma, you're in the hospital, you know, what's happened? They don't know, they can't recall. You are able to you're able to see all of their memories, right? You maybe have to touch them or something like that. You can see all of their memories come flooding in, and basically that's an investigate role, right? Where that is a +1 now, because you're seeing flashes of all of the things that they've seen with their eyes. Something like that.
I like the idea more of getting other people to remember their forgotten memories. because that can tie in with the taxi driver thing, and I'm thinking of how someone would discover they had these abilities.
Yep.
And I'm thinking of people getting in the back of the car and suddenly remembering where they left their keys and things like that.
Yep.
And it. Fucking kidding me! Sorry, there's someone at my door.
So yeah,
there's one here that says must gain the victim's trust. What are your powers of adaptivity dependent on? Must gain the victim's trust. I think that seems quite applicable for the recovering lost memories things.
Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is that it happens for the person that you're talking to, rather than in your mind that it's happening to them.
Like it's a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm giving them the gift of memory.
Yeah, while you're saying what who am I and what's this all about? So there's
it's almost as though it's got absolutely nothing probably to do with what kind of god he actually is when he finds out what kind of god he is. But this is just more of a way that his abilities generally are subconsciously manifesting in him, is that he's so preoccupied with trying to unlock this lost memory that he's just spontaneously manifested this ability to recover other people's lost memories for them. On your bed. Bed. No, that's lying down behind my I'll give up. I do. Enough to. Oh, shut up.
So go ahead and write down however you want to phrase that then as a tag.
I liked what you said, gift of memory. I wrote that down. Because that can be, it's like you want to find the balance of a broad, something that can apply to many things, and some that are more specific. So that's kind of a cool.
It's a cool mix.
Yeah.
Are you actually taking a note of this on your kind of playing character sheet there, Jen?
Yes. Oh, sorry.
I'm just typing it in a chat or in a
right in the text microphone.
So
I'm doing it in the intent that it could easily be transferred over. So
okay. So Mick, just tell me what your 3 tags under the Forgotten God then are. What have you called them?
I have. Sorry, I'll have to go back in. Something muted. They are reality warping.
Yep.
Augury (brackets random), and gift of memory.
Okay, so interesting question now. So you've now got. Can you see if we are just now your taxi driver one? I may as well just note them down as well.
Transport, contacts, and every back alley.
To the next, like when you level up your character, you basically get another power tag. So if you want to write in a 4th one, because you had mentioned the whole synchronicity/coincidence.
Yeah, I like that one.
That could be like when you level up, that could be your next gained power tag.
Yeah, yeah. Feel free if you want to note that down just now. So under Forgotten God, you could have, random synchronicities or whatever it was that you were saying, how you were describing at the time. That would be like one that comes up.
Yeah, like he needs to find something and literally just walks into a junk shop and there it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly the thing he needed or the book he wanted.
And this is what is really fun about this game. That is exactly what you can say. You say, oh, I go into the market, I go into the 7-Eleven here and I think I'm just going to find something right now and I'll get you to do a roll and see, if you change the game or something like that, So that's it can go quite interesting ways. And what is your? I know you've spoken about them, but I'm just taking notes just now. So what's your Forgotten God weakness? Have we got one yet? I don't know if we got one yet.
I wrote down the no structure / control. So that was, I don't know if you worded it better than I did, Nick, but like you said, that like you don't have a control over what happens of his arm
Yes.
accelerate.
I like the way it's worded with Declan. His is called no conscious control.
Yeah, that would seem.
Would that make sense?
Yeah, that I get the feeling that most of the time, even though they're essentially his powers, it feels like they're happening to him rather than coming from him.
I think that's a really interesting part of your character. And the weakness for the taxi driver, that was
Works nights, yeah.
Yep, cool. So 2 of them are done.
That's good. Okay, so what do you want to do next? Do you want to do another logos, i.e. natural one? Do you want to explore that? Or do you want to go in another kind of mythical powers direction? I think if you're not sure, I would go for the natural one first, and then you can decide what you want your last one to be.
Yes. Yeah, let's go for a natural one.
So, any other thoughts about your character? And if not, I can suggest some natural titles. So you've done routine. So I've got the separate theme cards here. So routine is actually your job. The suggestions here are things like defining relationship. Do you have, here's a question, who plays the biggest role in your life? Okay, that's a defining relationship. Mission, concept, what is your goal? Are you driven to some kind of goal in life? Training, what is your field of expertise? Concept, this is maybe an interesting one for you. It's a defining event. Okay, defining event.
Oh, yes.
And the concept here is what happened to you that's changed your life forever? And that would tie into your kind of mythos thing. Maybe something's happened maybe to cause this happen, or was it something traumatic happened in your life and then this mythos happened, you know? Here's some examples. When I was age such and such, one day something happened. There was a time in my life when, you know. And then there's also personality, by the way. So you could have some quirky personality that you want to have tags for.
I would think it would be, as I say, his life was very mundane.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it would be something like his taxi coming off the road and ending up in the river. Shut up, will you? Oh, this is too much. Come on. There's nothing happening. There's nothing going on. So no one ever knocks on the door at night. So now we're never going to hear the last of this, are we?
Here's some examples, Mick, for a defining event. A thundering realization, the loss of a loved one or a valued possession or social standing, an accident, a rise to greatness, 15 minutes of fame or enlightenment.
I think it would be an accident. I have this idea that his taxi went off the road. He ended up in the river.
Yep.
The water was coming in through the windows.
Were you drowning?
He was drowning. He was definitely going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And he blacked out. And the next thing he knows, he wakes up in his taxi on the roof of a skyscraper.
Okay.
With no idea how he got there.
So you could call it something like this. So it's the actual theme book would be defining event, but you could call it something like I drowned, or you know, whatever it is that you want to.
Where do I write these on my thing?
So on the theme book again. Hold on, I'll see if we can pull it up again.
Slug. Will you stop it? Will you please?
So here, if this is like your third theme here, you've got type. So that would be defining event. Oh, sorry. No, that's not true. That's logos. Sorry. That's a logos. So it's a natural.
It's both, actually. So you would put logos dash defining event.
All right. Okay. Cool. I should really look at the character sheet.
And then underneath of that, on your 2 lines there, that's where you could put in like a
title.
Car accident or the accident. Obviously what your accident was.
I drowned. No.
I drowned or
small text and found myself on top of a building. And then under that, the mystery dash identity, you put in a kind of statement, like something that you might say about that event. So
it won't let me die.
Yeah.
Ooh. That's powerful.
Yeah.
Or it won't let me die until I know.
Yeah.
Carrying with it this awful idea that when he knows, he might just lose all his power.
No, that's an interesting thought. Yeah.
It might just go to someone else as soon as he knows what it is or what its name is. It might just go to someone else.
Yeah, that is a really interesting concept. So
on your bed.
So we want to have some power tags, or ability tags, power tags.
Okay.
How does this defining event help you? So, for example, I'll just see if there's any good questions here. What kind of strong emotion did your defining event leave you with? So examples it gives here are filled with rage, a sense of unity with all life, driven to mete out justice, ambition.
A sense of purpose.
There we go.
I think because he wants to know.
Yeah, a sense
what this is, why it happened.
That's good.
Why him?
Another question here, which is kind of taking a different slant, is what part of your old self, while deeply changed, still serves you? And that it gives some examples: ex-celebrity, youthful curiosity, inherited fortune, love of the local community. Your guys got something like gift of the gab and things like that, haven't you, Jeff, for your personality? Yeah. What mundane but useful object did you obtain during your defining event? Rusty sword, a picture of my enemy, fancy clothes. What authority was vested in you during your defining event? Leader of a secret order of knights, the chosen one, head of corporation, city mayor. These are all examples. Who did you bond with or connect with in the aftermath of your defining event?
That's a good one. Yeah, maybe there was some sort of emergency worker or cop,
right?
Who investigated this bizarre business of my
emergency
taxi appearing on top of a thing.
So here, let me see. Media connections, a majestic eagle. A secret sponsor, a gang of lowlifes or rejects.
Well, actually, I'll tell you what. Yeah, media sounds quite good because I think that would have been all over the news for a couple of days.
Yeah,
that this guy's taxi just appeared on top of a roof.
Yeah, but you're like, everybody thought it was a prank, and all of that stuff, but maybe somebody in the media, you befriended and they totally believed you, so you've kind of got an insider in the media.
Yeah, because things like this happen in this city.
Although I think a medical person or a police person is also an option if you want to do that.
I'm going to put down police contact.
Right.
I know someone in the police after that. And they're kind of interested in my case, but they're interested in my case because they don't particularly buy it.
Maybe they have moments where you.
In fact, I'm going to go with that for my weakness. In relation to that, my weakness in relation to this whole strange event, this accident,
they don't believe me.
Person of interest.
All right, and in terms of the police,
yeah,
some of them
that they think that I pulled this off as a hoax or it was connected with something else, but just that there's something about this that I'm not telling them. Yeah, and they want to know why. So their interest in me is more one of suspicion than helpfulness.
So would we say that you've got one person that's kind of half believes you and maybe helps you out, but the weakness is there's a whole bunch of them that think you're an absolute crackpot or you're some kind of prankster. Yeah. That's good. That's really good.
Particularly since, and that ties in with the things from the first tag, from the Mythos tag.
Yeah.
With these things just happening to me. So more than one of these things has probably happened to me by now. Like I said before about sort of people stealing from my cab and then falling down manhole covers and things like that. They know who I am now. They've got their eye on me. They want to know why these strange things keep happening around. So yeah, person of interest to go for.
Okay, so that's two. Is that two so far?
2
tags. Shall I fire out those other questions, see if anything clicks? Let's see. Well, there's one that kind of reverts back to your kind of normal life. What skill or mundane ability did you pick up during or due to your defining event? Meditation, swordsmanship, light sleep, lying, shamelessly, wilderness survival as examples in that one. Here's another one. What knowledge did you gain access to thanks to your defining event? Manual of medical conditions, a sacred prayer, the underworld, city finances. Here's another one. What approach to life did you adopt following your defining event? You can't be too safe, humility, always prepared, power hungry, survival of the fittest.
Oh, I'll go for that, and it would be stoic fatalism.
So how would that help you in game?
Yeah, no, it wouldn't.
I mean, you can play the character like that, but that might not help you actually do anything. I want to attack the guy with stoic fatalism and roll +1.
Oh yeah, you would point a gun at me, wouldn't you? I
mean, I'm sure you could work it in some way.
Oh, shut up.
Let me see. What physical change or improvement stemmed from your defining event? An interesting one. Acute sense of smell, great reflexes, sprinter, fake smile. How do people treat you because of your defining event? Secret admirer, reverence, fearsome. I don't think that particularly applies. What approach to life kind of suits it quite well, I would say, or what physical change? Was there something physically that happened to you after your near-death experience? Or...
Oh, actually, I'll tell you what I like. He's younger.
Okay.
He's just, he was like sort of middle-aged, and now he's in his 30s. Or just appears to be in his 30s.
And maybe that makes him a little bit more enigmatic looking or attractive or whatever.
Yes.
Full of energy.
Yes.
Youthful energy,
youthful vitality.
Vitality. That's a good word.
Yeah, I'll go for youthful vitality.
So when people meet you, they might first just see you as a taxi driver and that, but maybe as you're communicating to them, they kind of sense this. There's something kind of attractive to you in an otherly sense.
Oh, that's actually even better than that. What about animal magnetism? There's something quite compelling that since the event, there's just something quite compelling about him that people just take to him.
Yeah.
A lot more. Before he was like quite terse and didn't really get on with people. That's why he works the night shift. But since the accident, since this defining event,
I like the word compelling because it's almost like here you are, you've got this guy in the police, right? And maybe even at some point we'll get you to do a flashback, right? And you'll tell us about how that police contact came to somehow believe you. Maybe you had one of these experiences where he recalled something from his experience that he'd forgotten, you know, because that power was randomly working. And that's why he kind of half believes you, but then other times other cops are like, that guy's a shyster, you know.
Compelling personality.
Yeah, but to normal people, maybe not the police that maybe ridicule him and ridicule you, to normal people, there's something really enigmatic and compelling.
Yeah, that's why, like, possibly even that there are maybe perhaps even people who by word of mouth sometimes seek him out and take a trip in his cab just to kind
I
of.
was just going to say that. Maybe you get
remember where that family heirloom ended up that they can't quite find.
You should get a fare with that guy because you'll remember where it was you'd lost. Okay, excellent. Did we have a weakness? We do.
Yeah, the weakness was person of interest. That the police think he's orchestrating all these things as a hoax or for attention or something.
Can I just say I took your animal magnetism literally? Like, what if you are
squirrels?
Squirrels are attracted to you. You talk with the pigeons in the city, and
I talk to the birds.
He's a supernatural equivalent of Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
That was always the magical power I wanted, talking to animals.
Well, you seem to be
terrible, wouldn't it? It'd just be like, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. My foot hurts.
I have to go out.
I've got nowhere to sleep. It's cold.
So
weird you should say that because I had a dream last night. This is absolutely true. I had a dream last night in which I was waiting for someone to open a gate, and I'd been walking around carrying this fish, and these kids were following me, really having a go at me for carrying a fish about. And although that's symbolic of either the Archangel Raphael or the god Mercury, one and the same, I was waiting for someone to open this gate, and I got into a conversation with a rabbit, and the rabbit was complaining that it had too many children. I was just saying, I just don't understand it. Sometimes I just go to sleep and I wake up in the morning and I've got more kids. I just don't understand. Sorry, but you just reminded me of
that. So tell me your tags for that one, will you, if you don't mind, just run through them quickly.
A sense of purpose.
Yep.
Police contact.
Yep.
And compelling personality.
Great. And what did we call the negative thing, the weakness?
Person of interest.
Person of interest. Great.
Oh, you like that, do you? Good.
Okay, so we've got one theme to do.
Oh, well, I like the idea of the mobility one because, as you say, we've already touched on that.
Yeah, I think so. So here's some of the definitions of mobility kind of abilities: nimble, graceful, dexterous, or supernatural speed, flight, traveling as a cloud, a drop of water or ray of light, riding on mythical creatures, or magical transportation. So it can be anything from like teleport to, I like your whole idea with this guy, Mick, about the whole spontaneity of it, you know. How does your mythos move you or others? How does it literally move you? Is it running, jumping, swimming, flying, gliding, catapult, etc.?
I think, just to be clear, this can like be a totally separate mythos and not necessarily connected at all to your original mythos of the nameless god.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? I mean, it could just be something totally different,
because your forgotten god or nameless god thing is the name of that mythos, so you don't need to strictly stick under that one idea. So it doesn't, but just it was more this whole, you know, your car was on the top of the roof, so it wasn't just you that moved, it was also the vehicle you were in at the time. Mm-hmm. So that's an interesting little variation, you know. It could be you and or others, you know, or you and or things.
See, again, I like the idea of this just happening.
Yeah.
So I think it would be just sort of teleportation without any bells and whistles at all. There wouldn't be any sort of portals or gateways or anything.
Literally, you blink.
You'd just be suddenly there.
So you could call it like blink or teleport or whatever. You know, it's literally what just happened there. I like that.
That's cool.
That would be fun while you're actually driving the car, wouldn't it? You know, you're about to, you know, you're about to run the red lights and you blink and you're somewhere else. You're like, what happened?
Yeah. Oh, you just go. Oh, we need. Have you been watching Doom Patrol?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Because there's a thing in the most recent episode of Doom Patrol where they want to get to Paraguay, but they've got no way of getting to Paraguay other than to get there in an old knackered bus.
Right.
It take at least 2 weeks, and they set out to go there in this bus, and they're halfway down to Paraguay, and something happens, and then one of the characters, Crazy Jane, she has 64 different personalities, and each one has a different power. And the personality that has the power of teleportation just gets so bored that she just takes control of the body and then grabs 2 of the other characters and just teleports them the rest of the way to Paraguay. So they just end, and they're just going, well, why? Hang on, well, you didn't tell us you could teleport people. So, well, I can't. She can. But yes, teleport.
I like it too because that ties in that could really tie in well with the taxi driver. Like you could be the best taxi driver in the city.
I could just, I could. You want to go to the airport? I'll get you to the airport before.
Because everybody has just this knack of, I don't know how, but the bridge was about to open and I blinked, and the next thing I know, we were on the other side of the river, and I got to my destination and like super quick.
And that actually works nicely with one of the ideas of the game, because in the game, normal people, the mist, they call it, whether it's physically the mist or some kind of supernatural kind of thing, it's like people don't see what you guys are doing, or they see it but they don't understand it and they don't think it's powers. So it's like they're blind. What they call it in the game is sleepers. So ordinary people are called sleepers. And
how about if I had a power, in addition to this teleport one, a power that I'm going to call right on time. So that literally when he's driving around the city, when he's going down the road, it's always a green light.
Okay.
And if someone is chasing him, just as he goes through the green light, it turns red, another car sort of goes across them.
Yep.
Or if he needed to get a subway train, there's just one coming.
Mm-hmm.
There just happens to be one coming just at this moment. Oh, we need to get there. Oh, yeah, there's a plane leaving. The gates are just about to shut. You've just made it.
What's good about that is it connects with your synchronicity thing.
Yeah.
The only thing is, it's not good for business, Mick, because if you teleport people, your fare will be really, really cheap, you know?
That's a good point.
So you also get a lot of customers because that guy there's the cheapest taxi driver in the city.
Well, there you are. Yeah, that's not the reason why he's never made it.
Right. How about we do something a little bit dangerous, right? I spotted one here under the mobility. It says, how do you go into overdrive? So imagine this power goes crazy, right? And I just love the sound of this, but you can do what you want. Tear space and time apart.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that fits in with the original idea from the first one, doesn't it? Of reality warping.
Yeah.
Hang on. As a player that's potentially playing along with this person, I'm not so sure I like the idea of tearing space and time apart.
Yeah, but I
see it along the lines of, we have to say we have to go to this like obscure town in the middle of nowhere. And so I really concentrate on this obscure town in the middle of nowhere, and suddenly we're in this obscure town in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's only later when we try to sort of walk out of this obscure town in the middle of nowhere that we realize that what I've actually done is transport this obscure town in the middle of nowhere into the middle of the city.
I could really mess with you guys with that one.
I don't like where this is going. Ken's got look in his eye.
Because that particular power is really potentially really, powerful, the effects. So we need a really strong weakness, I think, to kind of counteract, or a really interesting one, maybe not strong. I can go through the questions if you want, or if you've got something in mind. Here's, for example, first one. What impedes you or slows you down? Temporal distortions. Well, that's really to do with speed. Let's look at another one. What happens when you go too fast or too far, etc., like your teleport maybe? Space-time overloads, overlooked details, uncontrolled liquidation, exhausted. I like the idea of you teleporting or doing some kind of, what did we call that other one? Tear space and time apart, where literally the danger is you tear you and everybody you're transporting apart.
No, I don't like that idea.
Or what happens when you're caught? That's like claustrophobia. That's maybe to do with powers that you can fly about. What residual evidence does your movement leave on you or on others? Flickers in and out of time. Neighborhood sightings. Leaves a trail of feathers. Obviously that's for somebody with wings. Any thoughts? I kind of think the one that's most appropriate for some of that is really either what impedes your ability to use some of these powers, or what happens when you go too far. I kind of like that idea with the teleportation and things like that. What happens when you're stretching it, and that is can you tag a weakness if you obviously want to level up, or can I tag a weakness if I want to make it more dangerous for you?
Well, like that you say about the overload thing. I'd see it. I'm just going to change the order in order to. I'm going to change the order that these are written on the thing. Because I'd see them as being a sort of a building scale. So with the just-in-time thing, he's just kind of tweaking time-space just a tiny bit, in that he just happens to be going through the lights just as and he does that without even thinking about that. That's probably how this starts.
Yeah.
He doesn't even realize that he's doing that one, but it's just
He's never even noticed that it's always green. You know, it just doesn't even occur to him.
Yep.
So that's happening unconsciously. And then the teleport, he can kind of make that happen.
Yep.
But the tearing space and time, that's when he tries to make it happen. So I think when he tries to make it happen, it's just completely overwhelming. And I think at that point, when he actually sort of like tries to make it happen and tries to jump more than a couple of blocks, that it takes so much out of him that he can't do it again for ages.
Yeah. Well,
so the thing being that if he could teleport you to somewhere really far away, you're stuck there for the foreseeable future because he can't get you back because it'll be weeks before he can do it again.
Yeah.
You know, and probably I would also say as well for the teleport thing and the tear space and time thing, he can't go anywhere he's never been.
With both of them.
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't we call that the weakness then? You can't go anywhere that you've not been.
Yeah.
What about, I'm just gonna throw this out there. What about something's left behind? I mean, you could really mess with us there too, Ken.
I mean, you can actually keep. Jeff's done that, I think, as well. You can have a couple of weakness tags, not so much necessarily that you're going to tag them, but it might just help you play your character. You know.
What about he can't transport any? Oh no, because he can do the thing. Yeah, some things just don't.
Something
like
some
a
things are left behind.
A shoe,
yeah.
or your underwear, or a hat.
Okay, that's funny.
Or everything you were wearing, possibly.
Some things left behind, or left behind, whatever. That's fun.
Yeah, in the most extreme example, a foot.
Yeah.
It's like trying to go to Mars.
or one of us. You know, you try to transport the group, and all of a sudden somebody's not here. Wait, where's Chris? You know.
Yeah. So imagine in play, right? You're in their car and you decide, you need to get there because the bomb's ticking or something like that, and you decide to teleport there and you tag all these things and you end up failing, right? And maybe the guy that was maybe the most significant character who was going to be able to disarm the bomb is actually way back at Jeff's character's bar. He's still sitting there. He's wondering where you've all gone, and you're all. Yeah,
that sounds good.
That's fun. Excellent. The only other thing I don't know if we've done for the Mythos one yet is the question. What's the question? What is your kind of concept question of, so your let me see, your forgotten god. Oh no, I didn't write down your question on that one. So your forgotten god might be something along the line of, who is it that's guiding me or something like that, but I don't know if you put one.
Who am I?
Who am I? Sorry. Okay. What would your question be about these quite bizarre powers?
One of you mentioned it and I wrote it down. I think it fits though. What just happened here?
Mm-hmm.
The whole teleport thing, like either you would say it or somebody who saw it would say it as, wait, they were just here a second ago. What just happened?
I'm going to put that down as WTF. And I kind of see that one as being a sort of, like a subcategory of the forgotten god.
Yeah,
thing, in that it's those godlike powers manifesting in the life of a taxi driver. How would godlike powers manifest first of all in the life of a taxi driver? And initially they'd manifest just
in terms of him being able to move around quicker.
And so how we would play this out would be, you might say, for example, let me just look at your Mythos ones. So you've got reality warping, augury, and the gift of memory, just in time, teleport, and tearing space and time. So you could say, well, I'm going to warp reality here, and I'm going to tear space and time. And for almost like, I'm not saying all the time, but sometimes I would ask you to describe exactly what that looks like, to kind of almost like justify the use of both of those powers, I might not let you away with it. Now, you don't, in the game, by the way, you can tag mythic powers and normal powers at the same time. So obviously that really works for something like just-in-time teleport, and you have transport. So
yeah, or every back alley.
Yep. So that is potentially you could. Normally, you don't get to tag a much more than 3, but it's possible. So if you could actually tag 4, that's when you want to also invoke a weakness so that you can get an attention, and that's like an XP,
See, I quite like the idea that with those, like with the teleportation, that person of interest thing, popping up a lot, where they,
yep.
Because I'm assuming in this, is there sort of internet and social media in this?
Yeah, it's modern. Yeah.
So if you're sort of popping up suddenly, sort of appearing somewhere, someone's going to see that.
Yeah.
It might end up on YouTube.
Exactly.
And the police are thinking, he's done it again. Look, it's another one. He's done another one of these things.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in the eyes of some of the police, they think I'm trying to set myself up as some sort of social media, online
prankster or
celebrity prankster, David Blaine type figure.
Yep.
By performing all these stunts.
The guy with the car has just appeared in the top of Times Square.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's good, and I like the kind of.
Oh, he's riding across the harbour on the Statue of Liberty now.
It's like the ridiculous drama of the power in comparison with your very normal kind of taxi driver life. It's quite.
Yeah, and it just doesn't. He has no understanding of why this has happened to him, and very little control over it.
Yep.
And again, I mean, he might, and also, I kind of like the idea of him trying to do one thing and then doing another by mistake. So he's like really like desperately willing himself to warp reality and turn. Someone's pointing a gun at him, and he's trying to sort of warp reality to turn the gun into a bunch of flowers or something, and he just fucks it up and just teleports them to Antarctica. and he doesn't know. They just pop and they're gone. Or he'll do it, and they'll just like a second later just like fall in front of him or something.
Or if you fail the dice roll, I'll teleport you to Antarctica, and you've got to work out how to get home again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think a great one would be that if he fails teleport rolls, he just keeps on just like appearing back on the top of that same skyscraper.
Now that is actually a good one. That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
Like in that, what was that? Is it Forever? The thing with the guy who, whenever he dies, he just ends up in the water.
Can't remember.
That's a recent thing. An immortal who, whenever he dies, he's reborn again, but in water.
I mean that would
he
make
lives in New York, so he's just coming out of the river naked all the time.
What I like about that is that happened when your mythos initially manifested. So that means, there's almost, although the place isn't significant, there's a connection to the event, the defining event. So maybe when you either fail or something random happens, you end up back in that place again, and that's when you get into real bother with the police or whoever,
Yeah, because I'm sure at this point there's an injunction.
Yeah.
Stopping me from going anywhere near that building.
Yeah.
That's quite fun.
There's a restraining order.
Restraining him.
I can see this leading to some comedy in game, so that's good. So we're hoping that John will be able to join us as well, so that will be another player as well when he gets a chance. Excellent. I'm quite chuffed with that.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
I think we've got an interesting bunch of guys.
I'm curious, Mick, if maybe you've even thought of this already, but I'm curious as I'm hearing it. So like there's a part in the game where you potentially can turn into what's called an avatar, where basically you lose all connection to your normal everyday life. So you're not a taxi driver anymore. You basically become a god.
Yeah. I'm
wondering, is with your connection to the forgotten god or the nameless god, are you becoming him, or are you being controlled by him? Are you?
I'm not sure. I'm wondering whether I might just be like a repository for him.
That might be a really
almost
good...
like he might even just be stuck inside me.
And I liked what you said earlier, because it kind of balances it out a bit. If you effectively become an avatar, then you're losing your humanity, you know, and that the danger would be, like you suggested earlier, which was an interesting one, where when that happens, it's almost like he leaves you, right? And goes to somebody else, or he or she, or it leaves you and goes to somebody else.
I think maybe the idea is that, you know, their entire shtick is that they are the forgotten god, and if you figure out who the forgotten god is, what their name was, you effectively exorcise them, and they're gone. So perhaps finding out who the forgotten god is, that's not how he becomes an avatar. That's just how he gets rid of it and gets his life back.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because actually he quite enjoyed having just a mundane 9-to-5 life. Didn't want any of this.
So there's almost, for your guy, there's almost like you're walking this tightrope. You know, you enjoy the powers, you want to explore them, you want to become more proficient at it, like when you try and make things happen. But you know that potentially if you become a lot more powerful, then you can lose everything, you know? So you really need to, and that's part of the kind of character fun of the game, is this walk between power and normality, you know. And
I see it like Dr. Fate, you know. He's very aware that this power that he has isn't actually him.
Yeah.
You know, it's coming from somewhere else, from someone else, that's just sort of inhabiting him at the moment, like the Spectre, that sort of thing.
I had one of the I really like the Dr. Fate character. I had one of the comics, you know, like when I was really young. I think it was almost like an Origins kind of comic, but I find him quite an intriguing one, but I don't really know that much about Dr. Fate. Excellent. Well, I'm happy with that. I think, you know, we could do a little kind of session or something, but I think I'm up for doing that. Maybe we'll see if John joins us or not, and if not, we can get into it. Did Chris say he was away next week?
I don't remember if we talked about it even, so I'm not sure.
Okay. Any other thoughts, Jeff?
No, it sounds like an interesting character. I'm curious.
I mean, we could go into, you know, a bit on the moves in the system, but I think to be honest, I'm quite happy to leave it there, and we'll do it as we play.
Yeah, I agree.
Are you all right?
I told Mick that last night, that, you know, it seems at first to be quite complicated with the tags and the what can I do and the powers, but like once you start playing it, it's kind of like self-explanatory, and you know, Ken, you have a good knack of guiding us through, like, well, tell me what you want to do, and then you have a way of, okay,
Yeah.
well, that's a go toe-to-toe, or,
And we'll be able to, just offer some suggestions at the very beginning, Mick, if you're like, basically all of these tags, you can tag whatever is relevant. And I think that there's quite a lot of bits and pieces in City of Mist, but all of those bits and pieces are really supposed to just be the secondary thing, like the game element as to what it is you want to happen.
Okay.
So you narrate whatever you want to happen, and you say, I'm going to tag reality bending, I'm going to tag this, I'm going to tag whatever. And I'll maybe, adjudicate that a wee bit. I'll say, well, maybe that won't work in a situation because of A, B, and C. And we'll get whatever power you've got, might be 2 or 3 pluses. And you add that to your dice roll. That's it.
Okay. Well, that's good. I like the idea of exploring more of these more narrative-orientated games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I find it quite liberating. I think Tales from the Loop does a great job of it in a different way, where, it's a lot more to do with your character relationships, and then that really helps you role play it. And City of Mist, it's almost like, the premise is almost like you can do anything. You can do anything, right? And then dependent on the situation. And that's how it rolls. So excellent. I'm chuffed.
Yeah.
Quite pleased.
You want to end the video there?
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.